Let's talk about the creation story. For most of us, it feels like this ancient, dusty tale, a myth, maybe, something that gets debated and then filed away in the past. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if it's not just about our beginning?
Right? It's usually treated as just chapter 1, the prologue. It's a story about our origins, and then we move on to the more important stuff. But the story doesn't just stop there. Not even close.
I mean, what if Genesis was never really just about the past? That's the big question we're diving into. Because the God who spoke the world into existence is the very same king who is coming back to restore it.
And that brings us to our first really big idea. The past is the future. Now, that's not just a clever turn of phrase. It's kind of like the architectural key that unlocks the entire story of the Bible.
See, the whole biblical narrative really unfolds in 4 main acts. You've got a perfect creation, a catastrophic fall, a divine plan for redemption, and a glorious new creation. This framework is absolutely crucial, so try to keep it in mind as we go.
Okay, so let's go all the way back. I mean way back, to that very first moment. Before time, before matter, before anything we could possibly know. Let's go back to the void.
Just try to picture it. Absolute, total emptiness. There's no light, no sky, no land. Not a single breath being drawn. There's just a profound, silent, waiting darkness, and the Spirit of God hovering over the waters.
And then, a sound. A command that just shatters the silence and echoes through all of history. Let there be light. And in that instant, light didn't just appear. It overwhelmed the darkness. Not because it fought it, but because darkness simply cannot exist where light is. It's just the absence of light.
And this points to one of the most stunning claims in the entire Bible. You see, the Gospel of John tells us that the Word was there in the beginning, and that the Word was God, and that all things were made through Him. Think about that. This means Jesus wasn't some plan B. He was there, the agent of creation from the very first moment. And from this powerful, intentional act, humanity was formed. We weren't an accident. We weren't just some cosmic afterthought. We were created deliberately, on purpose, to be image bearers, designed to walk with God in the world He had just made.
But then, as we all know, something went wrong. Something broke, and it wasn't just a little mistake. It was a cosmic fracture, a deep crack that sent shockwaves through absolutely everything.
And that fracture created this jarring contrast. Look at this. The world was designed for peace, but it got pain. It was designed for life, but it got death. It was supposed to be a place where heaven and earth were one, but instead they were torn apart. And honestly, isn't that why our world feels so off? This mix of incredible beauty right alongside brutal suffering.
And it's not just us who feel this brokenness. The Apostle Paul writes in the book of Romans that all of creation itself is groaning. It's like the mountains, the oceans, the stars. They all remember what they were supposed to be, and they long for what they will one day become again.
So, how did God respond to this mess? Did He just scrap the project and start over? No. He did something almost unbelievable. He entered into His own broken creation. He stepped into the mess.
Just pause and think about this for a second. The very same Word, the same voice who spoke light into existence in the first place, now puts on skin and willingly steps into our darkness. He walked on the very ground that was cursed, breathed the air of a fallen world, and He felt its pain firsthand.
This is why the resurrection is so much more than just proof of life after death. It's not an escape plan. It was the first act of the new creation. It was God launching the campaign to reclaim and restore not just our souls, but the entire physical world itself.
And that leads us to the final chapter. See, the story doesn't end with us escaping a bad world to go somewhere else. No, it ends with the Creator returning to make this world good again.
When you see them side by side, it's just incredible. The whole story is bookended with this perfect symmetry. Genesis starts in a garden, Revelation ends in a garden city. Genesis has a tree of life that humanity is barred from. Revelation has the tree of life returned for the healing of the nations. A cursed earth becomes an earth with no more curse. It's a perfect, complete restoration.
This is the ultimate promise. And notice the wording. He doesn't say, "Behold, I make all new things," as if He's just throwing the old creation out. He says, "I make all things new." It's about renewal, not replacement. And so when you step back, you see it. The creation story was never just a backward glance at our origins. It's a forward-looking promise. It's the blueprint that tells us not just where we came from, but exactly where we are going.
So this leaves us with one final, unavoidable question. The story insists that this world won't end in darkness, but in a flood of light when the King returns. The question is, where will you be standing when the Creator finally steps back into His creation?